Hi guys, this is Mr. Fasin from Science Tech for Fun. Today we're gonna be covering the multimeter. So most of our students, A-level students and some technicians, they don't know how to use a multimeter. So today we're gonna be covering how to use, what each symbol means, and the connections, how to use the cables, okay? So for this, we will need a multimeter and two probes, okay? For easy to assemble, we're gonna use two different colors, but the color is not important. A black color that we're gonna use as the or the common one, and the red that we're gonna use for the probe in terms how to change the position in the multimeter. So here we have three plugs to connect. The COM is the common one. That's where the black cable will go. Then we have these two other connections. This connection here on the top is 10 amps, okay? So this 10 amps is related to the fuse. So the 10 amps we're just gonna use when we're gonna measure something with high current. Everything else, we're gonna use this middle connector here, okay? So this is milliamps, ohms, and volts, okay? So COM will be my black. This never changes, will be also in the same position. And the one that we change is the red. For most of everything we use here in the middle. And when we're measuring something with high current, we change for the second connector. So the multimeter should be turned off all the time. When you use, you turn on. If you're gonna change for example, measuring volts to measure current, for example, you need to go to off and then turn again for the position where you want. Several people just turn for the position they want to go, but when they do that, you can cross from a high fuse for a small fuse, and this can burn the fuse, okay? It's not a big deal if you go for the small tension or small amps to a big one, so where you have a small fuse going to a big fuse. The problem is when you're coming from a big fuse to a small fuse, okay? So the multimeter is divided in parts. So we have V's. V's stands for volts. Volts is where we measure the energy potential. Then we have the resistance, okay, in ohms. We have current in amps. We have the big amp, that 10 amps ones. We have this one for the frequency we are measuring. This is the diode one, that where we use for test. For example, if a cable is working, if a piece of equipment is working, you don't have any short circuit, we use this one for measures, for testing. So let's cover each one, okay? So here, AC, DC, okay? Alternating current, direct current. Alternate current, we use for normal household equipments or electricity, okay? As you can see, the current, the voltage here starts with 200. So everything below 200 can go here. Everything above 200, you need to step for the next point, okay, 600. For the other side, for the DC, direct current, we have things from 20 millivolts increasing to 600 volts, okay? So for 200 millivolts, for 600 volts. So every time you increase, you change your rate here in the dial, okay? So if you're going, for example, if you're gonna measure something that's go between 20 and 200, for example, 110 volts, you go always for the top one, okay? So you're gonna measure 110, you're gonna go here for 200. If it's above 200, you go for the next step, 600, okay? Amps. If you're gonna measure something like batteries or small amps apparatus, you're gonna use this one here, these three positions here, okay? That's from micro to milli, okay? Milliamps. If it's something like, for example, household utilities, you need to use the 10 amps one, okay? Ohms we use for resistance. So for different resistance, we use the ohms here. So if you're testing a resistor, you use for this one, okay? This is used for capacitors, okay? So this is used for capacitors, and as I said, this is used for testing, okay? Thank you for watching. Please consider to subscribe, comment, turn the bell on, and see you next time, okay?